Hello friends and welcome to Edupedia World Videos. Now this video will take you through a mini project. So we will do a mini project on the concepts that we have learned so far, and the concepts will include basic variables, operators, okay, and arrays and strings, and also console input and output. So we'll create a small project using all this functionality that we have learned so far, and in this program our intention would be to check whether the entered number is even and odd. So we will just display a result to the user that the number entered by you is even or odd. So how we will do it, let us see over here. First we will ask the user to enter some number, but we need to declare some variables. So we will declare a character, two-dimensional character array. So multiple integers can be stored in a single dimensional array, but multiple words can be stored in double dimensional character array, because for even a single word you need a one-dimensional character array. To contain multiple words we need two-dimensional character array. So here we will declare one two-dimensional character array. Let us name it as result string, and it is a two-dimensional character array. So here we will store this way. So first word and comma and then second word. So first word would be say even, okay, and this should be null terminated. Second word would be odd, and this should also be null terminated that way. Okay, so let us, so it is giving certain error in this program. To view the logs, click on logs, and it is saying array has an incomplete element type. So we have to define at least one dimension while initializing a two-dimensional array. So this was to show you that we have to define at least the smaller dimension. So we should at least tell it that our smaller dimension will at max contains these many elements. So for time being, let us set it as 10. Now it shall be able to compile without any error. Okay, so the higher dimension is not necessary to be given to the compiler, but the lower dimension is important to be given. Okay, so we have learnt another concept, how to initialize a double dimensional array in C. So we have initialized the 0th position with even and first position with odd. Now, so what are the properties of even and odd numbers? Okay, to check a number is even and odd, we will divide that number by 2, and if the remainder is 1, then the number is odd. If the remainder is 0, then the number is even. So for every even number the remainder will be 0. For every odd number the remainder will be 1. So there are only two possibilities of the remainder, 0 or 1. So that is a property that will help us to crack this code. Okay, so what we will do is we will just calculate the remainder. So that is done by modulus operation. First we will take a variable for remainder, okay, equals to, let us initialize it to 0. Then we will ask the user to input one number. So we will take variables for those one number that we have to check. So number is the variable, initialize it to 0 also. Now let us ask the user to enter that number. Printf, please enter a number. Okay, now we have to place a scanf statement to input that number from the screen. So format specifier %d and then comma and then the address of the variable number. So that is done. So now we have asked the user to input a number, and we have also read that number into the variable number. Now we will calculate the remainder. Remainder equals to, so number modulus of 2. Okay, so this will calculate the remainder by dividing the number by 2 and then store it in the variable remainder. Now ultimately we will get something in the remainder which will be either 0 or 1. So if it is 0, so what we can do is we can now use the property of the arrays that is known as index. Now what we will do, we will pass certain index to this array and it will point to a certain element. If we pass 0 to this array as an index to its first dimension, it will point to this word, and if we pass 1, it will point to this word. So we will either get 0 as the remainder. In that case, if we pass the remainder to the result string, it will print even, and if we pass 1 to the result string, we will get the odd. So that is where we get the actual number is even or odd. So we will print like this: the number percentage d, here we will print our number, is percentage s. Okay, so here we will print our array element. Now percentage d is number is result underscore string. This is the name of our variable, and we will pass an index to it, which is the remainder. Okay, so remainder would be calculated over here in this operation, and it would be passed to our result string as an index. This is an array, so if remainder is 0, this will mean result string 0, so which will point to even, and if remainder is 1, it will point to result odd. So if our number is even, then remainder will be 0 and we will print over here even, otherwise it will print odd. So our problem is solved. Okay, so while printing strings, we have to give only the first index. If we have a two-dimensional array, if we have an array of strings, we have to give only the first index. Okay, remember that. So we have given only the first index. Now let us try and run this program and check if it works or not. First thing is that whether it compiles or not. Let's compile successfully. Now let us try and run it. It will ask me to enter a certain digit. Okay, so first let us wait for it to execute. It will take a while. Okay, so now it is asking me to enter certain number. Let us enter an odd number first and see what does it say. Okay, so it has printed the number 19 is odd. So here our logic has worked, but we need to still test it by passing an even number, and we will test it 2 or 3 times and see it is working actually or not. So let us run it again. It is again asking me for a number, so this time I will enter an even number 1090, which is an even number, and okay, so it is working. Now it is saying the number is even. Now let us test it for one more value. Okay, so I will enter, say, another odd number, which is 109. So it is printing the number 109 is odd. So our mini project is now complete. Okay, so what we did was we just declared a character array. Here is where the logic lies. Okay, we have declared a double-dimensional character array, so which is an array of strings, and in the 0th index there is the string even, in the first index there is the string odd, and now we are calculating the index for this array using the modulus operator. So we have named that index as remainder, and we are dividing the number modulus. We are calculating the modulus of that number by dividing it from 2, so it will contain the remainder. Remainder will either be 0 in case of the number. In case the number is even, the remainder will be 0, and we will point to the 0th index of this array. And in case the number is odd, the remainder will be 1, then we will point to the first index of this array. Hence, this statement will execute respectively. So if the number is even, we will have 0 over here, and this will point to even and it will print even. If the number is odd, this will be 1, and the number will be 1 and the index would be 1, so it will point to odd. So that is how we have solved this problem. So I hope you understood the concept, and I hope you enjoyed this small mini project of ours. Please keep on watching Basics of Programming in C language. Thanks for watching.